Today it is Saturday, which means it is Parkrun Day, and today we are off to the Coed Cefn-pwll-du Parkrun in South Wales. I do apologise for the pronunciation of the park run, however it is located between Newport and Cardiff, slightly further to the north in a town called Machen. The park run is located within the Llwyn Hir Forestry Walk and it's meant to be one of the hilliest park runs in the UK and probably the hilliest one within Wales, so this is going to be a very difficult one today. The park run is entirely ran on trail paths, so therefore I definitely recommend trail shoes. However, if you've got road shoes, I don't think it's going to be too bad this one unless it is very wet. It is important to note as well that it is not buggy/pram friendly. However, if you do have a dog, you can bring them along and there are toilets very close to the parking down at the bottom. Even if you're not doing the park run, I definitely recommend having a walk around this area. It is stunning. There's loads of deciduous trees, vegetation, picnic areas where you can stop off with benches and things like that. And then there's also lots of wildlife roaming the area too, so it is a stunning park run, I have to say. This is definitely not a course for a PB potential, however, with it being quite a quiet park run and not too many attendees, you may be able to get your PB in your finish position. But before we get into the course, if you don't know what a park run is, it is essentially a 5k run which is run by a group of volunteers who both time and marshal the event. Once you get to the finish line, you'll get given your own finish token. You then scan that along with your personalised barcode, and then later on you'll be sent an email with your finish position and the time that you got. And now let's take a look at a summary of the course then. So it is a 1 mile uphill followed by a mile of undulating land followed by a kilometre going downhill. It is a single loop, very challenging course as well. However, if you do love your single lap courses, this is the perfect one for you. It has an elevation gain of approximately 131 metres with a max elevation of 182 metres, so a very hilly one. And now let's take a look at this course in a bit more detail then. So you're going to start off on this north side of the forestry walk. This is going to be the lowest point of elevation of the whole run. You're going to make your way uphill past where you're going to finish towards the top of the hill. So it's large swooping bends, but this is all uphill. Once you've completed mile 1, it'll then turn into a more of an undulating course. So you're going to make your way all the way past the Penhow farm down to the bottom section close to where the picnic area and car park is. You're then going to do a U-turn at this top section. Then you're going to start making your way back. It's still again undulating. You're going back on yourself for a little bit before you turn left this time and head your way onto a different part of the walk. This again is large swooping bends, so not really any 90-degree bends on this course. And then for the final kilometre, this is all going to be downhill and it is all on trail paths from start to the end before you hit the finish line, which is just a little bit further up here from where you started, and then you can make your way back down to the car park at the end. So that's the course, and not too confusing one at that. But now I'm going to have a look at some of the records which have been set at Coed Cefn-pwll-du Parkrun, which I'm very impressed with. When I saw them, I couldn't believe it. But we have our fastest male, which is here, Jacob Tasker, with a time of exactly 17 minutes on the dot. Now, how he did that, I have no idea. The fastest female was Katie Beecher with a time of 20 minutes and 30. Again, extraordinarily fast, with the average number of runners being 41. So as I said before, a really quiet one and potentially the quietest sort of average which we have been to. And the average time is a lot slower than many of the park runs I've been to, with a time of 32 minutes and 36 seconds. So those are the stats set by some incredible athletes. But now we're going to take a look at my GoPro stats, which we have done so far. So we're going to start off with the number of park runs, which is 46. Number of locations I've done is 31. My best finish position was at Zielony Jar, which is in Poland, where I came 4th. My fastest time's been 22:32 all the way down to 23:10 from Somerdale Pavilion down to Riverfront. And if you want to check out last week's, that was Kingsway, where we actually managed to get 2nd position on the fastest time, but I cannot see Coed Cefn-pwll-du Parkrun getting onto this leaderboard. Now let's get down to the course then. So as you can see, we're about to set off and we are off. So the park run has started and we are making our way up the hill. You can see that it's a very steep start compared to a lot of the park runs, and everyone is pushing their way to get up the hill to begin with. You can see on the ground as well, it could be a little bit slippy if it was really wet. It wasn't too wet on the day that we went, so trail shoes were perfectly fine. I mean, you can't beat trail shoes, and there's a couple of drips as well. As you saw, one just goes straight onto the GoPro there, which have come from the trees above us, but a pretty quick out to begin with, 5:30, which I'm quite happy with. I was going to be happy with the 26 minute, that was the aim, under 26 minutes. And these two on the left, you may recognise if you do watch park run content. So on the left hand side, you've got Nick The Bullet and Alicia, so they both also have a YouTube channel as well, so don't forget to check that one out if you do like watching some parkrun content. They have some great videos on there too. But we're on the way uphill, 200 meters in, and it looks like it's going to be a long, hard climb. And you may see here on the right hand side, that is the finish funnel for the end. So you'll be looking forward to getting to there once you get to the top of this first hill. But that last bit is a downhill, so it's very, very nice to end off. You can see a couple of puddles and maybe a few potholes as well, so do be careful taking your footing. It's now coming a little bit more exposed, so there's less trees around here too. But it's a lovely forestry walk, I have to say. And even if you are not competing in the parkrun, well, not competing, if you're not doing the parkrun, you could definitely come to this area and just take a nice little stroll around the forestry walk, because there's not too many people, so it doesn't get too busy. So you may have noticed in that bottom right hand corner, the elevation is increasing meter by meter as we progress with this park run. But if you do want any of the information from my elevation from Strava, I will leave a link in the description below, so you can go and check that out, give me a follow, and you can go and see all of the different park runs which I've done, the courses and the elevations. So we're now at 148 meters of elevation, and one thing I do have to say as well is that everyone was so friendly and nice in the area. It was a real community feel to this park run. Dodging that puddle there on that right hand side, it was massive. But if you do enjoy this sort of content and you want to see a few more of my parkrun videos, don't forget to hit that like button, it goes a long way. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and you get one every Friday, and hopefully it'll be a different one as well every Friday. I do try and keep to that. However, sometimes if I'm doing other things, I'm going away, I will go back to visit another to try and beat my time. So we are 1 kilometre in with a time of around 5 minutes and 40 seconds, so a lot slower than a lot of my usual runs. You can see as well that with the bends on the course from the map on the left hand side, they're not actually 90-degree bends at all. It's a perfect, nice little swoop, so that's not going to slow you down at all. But you can see it is starting to get that little bit steeper, up to 163 meters of elevation as we make our way up. You can see a few people there ahead of us as well, so you're not really going to lose your way either. It's quite hard to go wrong on this one because it is literally just a single track, and then anywhere where there's a junction there'll be a marshal or an arrow pointing you in that right direction. And there we go, so it looks like it is beginning to flatten out a bit, so we are making our way into the undulating section, so it's almost a mile until you get to that point. And as you can see, it is nice and flat now, so you can give the legs a little bit of a relaxing time after that strong hard push to begin with. I can remember my quads were burning, all the lactic acid was building up in my quads, and now we are into the undulating section, which will have lots of different ups and downhills, quick and slow. So here we go, starting to head our way downhill now, and that's feeling a lot nicer than we began with. Our time as well, at the bottom right hand corner, you can see the pace has increased a lot from 6 minutes all the way up to 4:40, 4:45 sort of pace. So I'm managing to speed up again, try and get under that 26 minutes. Ten minutes in, 1.8 kilometers done. You can see your marshal here pointing you in that right direction, and you will be passing this section as well when you make your way downhill. You can see the cones directing you into the right path, and we're currently running at a pace of about 5 minutes. So again, we've slowed down that little bit as that was a slight uphill, gone back to flat now to a potential decline. You can see we've actually dropped all the way down to 164 meters now from 182. So we have gone down, and there's only ups and downs to come now. As you can see, we are back to an incline stage, 179 meters up on the elevation now, going up to that 180 again. So it is a very challenging park run, this one, and the hardest that I have done by a long mile. So we can see another volunteer there who's going to point us in the left direction, but look how happy she looks. It was a great community feel. She's got all the energy, giving us that energy to push us up that hill, but you do need to be careful of all of these puddles and potholes and things like that. There's someone else there running down. Not too sure if they were the person in first position, but very well done to them. Having to hop over another puddle there, me and Alicia, as we make our way now down towards the U-turn before heading our way back and to the rest of the undulating stage to the downhill. So there's a nice little downhill to the U-turn. You can see the marshal stood there with the cones, and then this U-turn will slow you down just that little bit to almost a stop, because you're actually turning, doing the U-turn on the downhill and then having to push your way back up that uphill. It's a shame that the cone isn't just that little bit further up towards the top of that, so it's nice and flat. Alicia and Nick the Bullet there ahead, just giving each other the high five to spur them on. And now we're going to make our way towards the downhill, but we've got to the furthest point of the run, and we are now 2.5 kilometers in, so only 2.5 kilometers left to go. And here is the excited marshal there again on the left hand side to spur us on, to push us as we are back up to that 182 meters of elevation. So now from here it is all going to be a downhill. So obviously some undulation before we hit the downhill, but we're never going to hit that 182 meters again, I don't believe. And here we go, so we're back down to 166 elevation, and instead of going straight on and doing what we have just done, we are going to turn off to the left now. You can see being funneled with the arrow and the cones pushing us to this left hand side. Another lovely marshal there, and there's the 3 kilometer mark. So actually around this course they had these kilometer signs, so every 1 kilometer they had a new sign, which was perfect. And then towards the end I think they had like 400 and 200 meters to go, so it was lovely to see that, because then you knew exactly where you were at. But at 3 kilometers it felt like a long way still to go as we make our way around the trail path. Still, you can see as well that there are a few puddles in this section, and the downhill section is a lot worse, which we will see as it comes up in just a moment. And as we hit that 18-minute mark, you can see Alicia has pulled it away, and I didn't realise, but it has actually gone all the way back up to 183 meters. So there is still a few hills to go at this late stage, but surely as we get towards that 4 kilometers, we've got to start going downhill back to where we started. But you can see again still there's a few U-bends by the looks of it, which are coming up. No 90-degree bends, which is perfect. Give the screen a quick wipe to make sure there's no drips on it. And come on, we can get under that 26 minutes, I believe. Road doggo there on the course as well, so watch out for him. I was surprised there wasn't actually a little bit more wildlife, maybe because the runners in front had scared the rest of the wildlife off. But it is a lovely, stunning area, and you do get great views of the town as you get closer to the bottom. And this is a lovely downhill section. You can see the elevation at bottom right dropping metre by metre. However, in these downhill sections, I would be careful with your footing, as it does get just a little bit more rocky and a little bit more potholey, if that's the word. But yes, we're now heading our way back up another hill, and I believe this might be the last uphill climb which we have to do. Well, when I say uphill climb, up as in a steep uphill climb, because there's a couple more little ups and downs, but the majority of it is now downhill. And there we go, so it looks like we're passing another marshal with their doggo as we enter our final downhill straight to the bottom. We're doing quite well at the moment, 21:53, so it looks like we're going to get just under that 26-minute time, which I was aiming for, but it's a lovely now downhill. Look at that. This is going to make it a lot easier as our quads are burning, so it's give them time to breathe, and we can speed up a little bit as well. As you can see here as well, it gets that little bit muddier, so we're trying to dodge the mud patches by the looks of it. and trying to make sure that we don't twist our ankle or anything on this section. It is still downhill. We've gone all the way down now to 147 meters elevation. We're slowly catching up with Alicia as well as we try and get a slightly better time, but it's coming up to that last sort of time. If you've ever done this park run, do make sure to let me know down in that comment section below, and also let me know of your other favourite park runs, because maybe one day I might be able to go and visit those, so I'll note them down for the future. So we are gradually getting closer and closer to Alicia. We're picking up that pace a little bit more. You can see again a few puddles and potholes and things to watch out for, so do be careful in that section. And with 400 meters to go, can we start to pick up this pace that little bit more and maybe get to just under 25.5 minutes? We'll have to see. We're doing quite well at the moment, but no, I trip. I stand weirdly on a rock, and I actually to this day now have sprained my ankle, unfortunately, just from standing on that rock. So do be careful and keep your eyes on the ground at this section. It's very muddy and my ankle was in pain. Alicia actually turned around just to check that I was okay, so I do appreciate that a lot. And I carried on running. Maybe not a very good idea, definitely not a good idea, to be honest. So if you do sprain your ankle, don't keep going, because I did manage to carry on in a little bit of pain. I did feel it hurting, and again we're having to jump over things like this. There's a lot of pressure going onto my ankle in this final section, so that wasn't ideal. But yes, do be careful. Keep your eyes on the floor, especially at the downhill sections, as it is really easy to just twist your ankle and then you'll be out for a couple of weeks. So I'm probably going to be volunteering next week at Summerdale Pavilion, so if you're there, I'll see you there. But the finish line is now in sight over there in the distance. We did manage to pick it up. My leg was in pain, I remember, but here we go. The final sprint finish. We're on 25 minutes and 24 seconds. By far our slowest park run so far, and it is a little bit of a push because it is an incline here right at the end to the finish line. What time are we going to get? So we get a time there of 25:38 with a position of 8th. Very happy with that one, and well done to everyone else that took part, and you, Alicia, and Nick the Bullet. So that is Coed Cefn-pwll-du Parkrun complete, and that was a very challenging one, I have to say, but we have managed to tick off another C. That will be our 5th C in the alphabet, and also the Pirates Challenge on the 5k run up. That C also contributes to that. This course is definitely not a PB potential course, however it is really stunning and beautiful, so you definitely have to go and try it out just for that. Even if you're not running or trying to compete against yourself in the park run, do make sure to just have a walk around or a little jog around. It is a stunning one, and there is quite a lot to see as well whilst you're there. Also, let's not forget to say a massive thank you to all of the volunteers who were there on the day. Without them, the run would not go ahead. They were able to motivate us, especially the lady at the top, which was dancing. I have to say, without her, I was feeling down, so she definitely brightened up the mood as we were going around. All really happy, friendly, welcoming, and it gave it a real community feel too, so I love that about it. But as we always do, let's go through a couple of pinch points which makes this park run not a PB potential. So obviously number one is that it is very hilly. Some are obviously quite hilly. This one has been the hilliest one which I've done so far, taking away any PB chance. Number two is the U-turn, so there's that one U-turn towards the end which you need to complete, and that does take a couple of seconds off your time, as you saw with my run. And then finally, the uneven ground, so you have to be careful with that, keeping your eyes on the ground all the time. Maybe have to jump past a puddle or over a puddle or something like that. And with me spraining my ankle, like I said, do definitely be careful at this course, although it is really enjoyable, and I definitely will be back to try and complete it again. And now we are at the section where I give out a few tips and tricks from my experience of the park run. So we'll start off with the public transport. If you want to get there by train, the closest train station is Pontymister train station, which is an hour and 40-minute walk from the start, or a 50-minute car journey, or a 50-minute bus ride. So it is quite difficult to get there by train, and I wouldn't recommend it. If you want to get there by bus, the best bus stops, in my opinion, are probably either the Machen Surgery or Machen Primary School bus stops, and then from there is about a 10-minute walk to the start. And then finally, if you're thinking of driving there, there is parking at the Machen Village Hall. There is plenty of spots available, so you don't need to worry too much about getting there early. However, There is a 7-minute walk from there to the start, so make sure you do account for that. It is a nice little walk as well, and it is uphill. And then finally at the end of the run, everyone pops over to a little, I think it might be a pop-up cafe, which is literally right next to the car parking, so don't forget to go and check that out too, and you can get some nice little cakes and drinks and things like that. So that is it for all of my tips and tricks. However, if you are local to the event or you've ran this one a couple of times and have some tips and tricks of your own, do make sure to let us know down in that comment section below, and I will try and pin your comment to the top of the comment section. But now let's go and take a look at our GoPro stats. I don't think much is going to change as that was such a difficult park run. So we've now completed a total number of 47 park runs, 32 different locations, and our best finish position stays the same as 4th, and all of the best times also stay the same. However, we did actually get our PB/joint PB with Llwyn Jar for the best gender finish position, so I came 4th out of all of the males at this park run, so that was joint with Llwyn Jar, where I also came 4th out of all of the males, so I was pretty happy with that one. So that is going to be it for Coed Cefn-pwll-du Parkrun, and I'm very happy that that is the last time that I'm going to be saying that in this video. But if you did enjoy this one and you want to go and check out the one which we did last week, that was at Kingsway, where we managed to get our 2nd fastest time, so definitely go and check that one out. Or you can go and check out my parkrun playlist, which has all of the parkruns which I have done so far in a playlist. Due to getting a strain in my left foot this week, I am actually next week going to be volunteering at Somerdale Pavilion as the timekeeper. So if you're there, don't forget to come over and say hi, and I hope you all enjoyed this one, and I'll see you all in the next one.